Welcome to my Zone 2 garden up in kind of northern Alberta. We are in Lac La Biche County. I wanted to start doing some videos to see if I can kind of connect with people that are maybe gardening in the same kind of zones that we are. I love going on YouTube, and I love watching garden videos, garden tours, that kind of thing. But I have also done quite a few searches trying to find garden videos for my kind of area, my kind of thing, and there's not a lot out there. I have found some for say zones 2 or 3 that are like city lots, but I'm hoping if I can put out something like this that maybe I can find other people in the same kind of situation and I can learn from them what works for them, and gosh, who knows, maybe I can even help the odd person out with what seems to work for me. So we moved here about 5 years ago, and there's our old house over there. When we moved here, we lived over in that place. This area down here, there was an existing garden, an in-ground garden, and the soil was depleted. It was kind of like right in this area. It wasn't very big, but it was big enough. There's only 2 of us. The soil was depleted. I did plant it the first year, and it was hugely unsuccessful. So the following year, we moved that house onto our property. And where that was, or that is, prior, all of this, from that shed over there, all the way around to that rock garden, was all trees. It was all forest. We are in a subdivision. We have about just over 3 acres, and everything down back is still treed. It backs down onto farmland, and it goes downhill. So this was all trees. So beginning in 2017, we started putting in the raised beds. We started with the rock garden actually, and then we moved a couple of raised beds on to here that we had, but it was very slow going. Hello, Grace. It was very slow going because it was all clay soil, and we didn't bring in topsoil. We don't use any chemicals or anything here. We wanted we had the motto, if it grows, it goes. So I like all the clovers. I like all the dandelions in the spring for the bees. It's all about the bees here. And so anyways, fast forward, it's progressed, and we actually now cut the so-called lawn, or whatever you want to call it. We cut the grass here. So yeah, so I think in all, I think I have something like 11 beds. I do have a small greenhouse over there, and there's 2 raised beds in there as well. So I have these trellis beds. This is kind of new to us, or at least the trellises. We just put this in this year. So I've got some squash growing, some pumpkins, got some herbs down here, some parsley and sage and thyme and whatnot. Some greens. Greens I kind of like just succession plant. This is an old horse trough. Got some kale, again some more herbs and whatnot, and there's more greens coming up. Here is a cabbage bed, and I've got some beets in there. And then this is the first year growing this beautiful garlic that a friend gave us. Gave us some last year. We ate it all winter, and then last fall I planted some, and I'm really eager to dig that up. First time growing this kind of garlic anyways. This bed actually originally was supposed to be all cabbage, but we had a really horrific heat spell and lack of rain, and I lost a lot of my cabbage. This was supposed to all be cabbage too, and I've got a few heads that have bounced back nicely, but also bare spots. So we've got some dill. Then this bed over here this is fenced because the deer absolutely love the beets, so I do too, so we fenced it. I've got parsnips growing in there. It's first year growing parsnips. My mom-in-law is a huge fan, and I think I'm gonna be too. So haven't really roasted any yet, but I did try a couple raw. The beets and the beet greens. Beet greens we do beet leaf rolls. Also do that with Swiss chard, and then I will pickle and just eat a lot of roasted beets and some carrots. And this whole bed is bordered in onions. I do that with a lot of my beds, and it seems to be fairly successful. This is an experiment. This is a beautiful bed full of nasturtiums, but in amongst there is all asparagus that I actually started from seed this year, and I did read that it will do just fine in a raised bed as long as you can keep it weed free and protected from the deer. I've got some pickling cukes in this little box here. A lot of this stuff is repurposed from other materials and from the landfills and whatnot. The deer got into my pickling cukes, so there's only a couple left. This was an onion bed. I started harvesting those before they rot. This is another repurposed thing. Can't remember what it was, some kind of tank. I've got onions, lots of onions in here, nasturtiums, and some herbs, parsley and oregano. What else haven't I shown? This is a front bed. Last year I had this whole bed in sunflowers, and it was stunning. We're thinking of putting in some kind of like a barrier from the deck down to kind of prohibit the weeds from growing underneath there, but we haven't got that far yet. So hopefully my plan here is that this is going to be all perennials, and maybe some sunflowers and some beans crawling up. I think these sunflowers were all volunteer from last year. This is a black hollyhock, another experiment. I'm hoping next year it flowers. Some calendula, bergamot, which is also bee balm, a couple of clematis, and here's some more bee balm. I really like this. The bees really like it, and it carries on well into the fall. We have a thunderstorm brewing here, which is very welcome. It's been a very hot, dry, unseasonably hot, dry summer for us. Got some hops. This is my little greenhouse. And so this year I have just some Roma tomatoes growing along the back here. This is a tomato that was given to me from a friend. I think they're supposed to be big slicers, but I'm not sure the variety. And then a whole bunch of peppers. And I have them growing pretty thick in here. I am getting some peppers. This is little habaneros, and they are starting. Got some jalapenos back there. Some paprika peppers. This is a first for me as well. And then there's some Thai peppers in here too that are just starting to form. And I've heard from people that you can dig up your pepper plants and bring them in and overwinter, and that's one thing I would like to do. That's the backwoods full of all kinds of good natural growing herbs and things that I like to pick and make salves out of. So anyways, that's the deck gets very hot. It's south facing. So I do plant some tomatoes and whatnot up on here. Sometimes things do really well. Sometimes it's just too dang hot this year. And I did my spuds in tubs this year that were all given to me from farmers. So that's it. I would love to hear some comments. I would love to hear from anybody who is in this same crazy zone as we are. Our last frost is usually towards the end of May. First frost can be anywhere as early as end of August. Sometimes we luck out and we have a beautiful fall. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you. Talk to you soon.